she probably introduced herself. So I'm very grateful that we have some foreigners in this group because we really see ourselves as this international school. So thank you all for being here with us.
So I would just like to add to that, this method of meditation is different from the other methods that are more well known, but it's actually very, very old. It's just, until recently it was sort of reserved for the monks and the few mystics who had found it. It's our job to bring it out to a wider audience because this meditation is easily applied. It's practical. It makes, actually, it's going to help you with your health and your relationships and your work. Those are the three things that we're going to focus on: your health and your relationships and your work. And meditation is the tool. So in the course of things, you'll find that your heart has been wounded. Everybody's heart has been. And so part of our work will be to work with these wounds. But we won't do this in a psychological way. We're not going to go over the past and immerse ourselves in the tragedies of our previous events. We're going to use meditation to resolve the things of the past energetically. It turns out that these events that have wounded us in the past have been stored in our magnetic field, and not just in our minds, but in our field. And so we have to deal with it there. And this has been attested to by many psychologists who've been part of this group. We have the most frequent occupation of the students in our school is therapist. And so, but the point is that even after lots and lots of therapy, it doesn't, if it doesn't change the magnetic field, the problem is not resolved. So, and then beyond that kind of resolution of the past, we want to build the being that you are for your purpose, your work in the future. Whatever your purpose is, it's not over yet. It's everything so far has been a preparation. There's still work to do, and discovering what that work is and building the capacity for it is another part of our work here together. And let me just close with two technical points. Up in the right-hand corner of your screen, there's a button that says, it says either speaker view or the other view, gallery view, right? So you can switch from one to the other. Speaker view makes the speaker take up the whole screen, and gallery view is what we use when you want to see everybody. You can also, in the upper right-hand corner of each of the windows, each of the pictures, there's a little thing that shows up when you put your cursor over it. So in the upper right-hand corner of each picture, there's a little blue menu will show up when you put your cursor there, and that allows you to do something called pin. So you can take any picture of any of us and make it full screen. So if you want to just see Sadiq, no matter who's talking, you can do that, you see. Or any of us, you can zoom in on anybody in the room. So it really is like a room. We're here together. You can focus yourself on anybody in the room, or you can watch the whole room at once. You can listen to the speaker. And it's a very, very, very interesting technology we're going to use a lot. And I think you'll get very fond of it. It's really useful. It's helpful for us to be able to see you if you don't sit with being backlit, because the camera will be, so I think you're all in pretty good shape there. But sometimes if you have an open window, a bright window behind you, then the camera adjusts for the window, and that makes your face rather dark. The best thing is to do what we do. We face a window. That's why we're so well lit up. We've got a window in front of us. And the other thing is that some of you are really distant from the camera. And I know that that's often very easy to do. I mean, it's, you know, it's just the way the camera works out. But there's a software program that that a lot of us use. It's called eyeglasses. The letter I followed by the word glasses. And this is a program for both PCs and Macs that allows you to control your camera and zoom in. And I'll just show you what that looks like. As we have it set up here. See? Whoop, I can zoom. And that's what this program Eyeglasses does. It also allows you to change your exposure like this, see? So if you're sitting in the dark, you can brighten up your image. Anyway, those are just things that are helpful to allow everybody to see you more clearly. So enough technology. Well, actually, we have lots and lots of technology. You're going to see that this is going to be a course in computers as well as a course in meditation because we are so much online. There's a lot of technology. The meditation itself is a kind of technology. And getting good at that technology is going to be important in this first class 101 because after this, you'll be using this meditation a lot. At this point, we're just trying to understand how it works, why it works the way it does. Why do we sit the way we do? Why do we, you know, all the different steps in this meditation have reasons. You know, it's all deliberate as to why we do what we do. And we want to share that with you so you understand how this works and why it's different from other kinds of meditation. In the future, I think everybody will meditate this way because basically it works better. But that's not well known yet. So you're on the forefront. And just appreciate that. You're on the forefront of a kind of methodology that will become very widespread. Kids will learn how to do this. At this time, well, the adults have to take the lead.
Right, so we give you our blessings for these 2 years and have a wonderful, deep experiences. Through this introduction here this morning, we wanted to let you know that we are part of this course, even if we are not always visible and audible to you, but we are part and we are feel very much connected. And again, we are grateful to the teachers who actually work with you. But we actually communicate with them if necessary, and sometimes I communicate to all of your mentors. So we really know what is going on and how this is all moving. So it's wonderful to be together in the heart. Many blessings to you.
Yeah, Susanna supervises all the mentors, so we're in touch with you.
And we are on the group retreat. So if you wanna come to the next group retreat in Sedona at New Year's, we will see you in person. So much love and many blessings.
All right, we're going to sign off
and let Malik guide the meditation.
Nice meditation. Thank you.
Many blessings.
Thank you, Sadiq and Malik. You're precious to us. We couldn't do this school without you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and blessings to both of you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back over to Malik, and just to kind of give you guys kind of the structure of how the classes go. And again, initially, like we talked about, we're going to be working a little bit with some of the technology, and it's going to, you know, take some while and some patience for us to maneuver that. I see some of you already have figured some of it out already. I've seen some messages go past, so we'll go over that. But for now, I will turn it over to Malik, but to let you guys know typically how this will work is one of us will lead the discussion, one of us will lead you in a meditation, and it'll all be based on the material that you guys had covered or we're going to cover in the week ahead. And we'll go over some more of that in a bit after Malik leads us in a meditation, and we'll kind of go from there. Malik, I'm going to turn it over to you and put myself on mute.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you very much, Sadiq. And that was lovely having Susanna and Paran saying hello, because they are always very pressured for time. But they really made an effort to come this morning, because I think they do really value everyone who comes into the school, and they do know you. I can tell you that from personal experience, through your mentors, and obviously they meet you as well. So let's start with the Circle of Love and Light, which is a lovely way to start the web classes. We'll normally do this first and then go into a meditation, and we'll talk to you, as we said, a little bit about that in a minute. And we will do this every week. So what I'd like you to do is, I hope you found a comfortable chair or wall, in Patricia's case, I think, where you can sit for a little while upright, nice straight spine. It's really important that you have a straight spine. Your feet are flat on the ground, and your knees are a bit lower than your hips. It's really important to get that position right, that stability, because I can remember the first probably a few weeks into heart rhythm meditation, holding myself up through willpower, and it was agonizing, because, you know, some of these meditations that Susanna will do at group retreats are an hour long. So it's best to get your position right at the beginning. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable wherever you are, best you can if you're outdoors or not on your special chair, and sit up straight. Make sure you're stable. Put a cushion in just at the base of your spine if you're uncomfortable, because sometimes that just gives you a bit more stability. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to just raise your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back and down, so that your chest is nice and open. It's really important to have an open chest, because then you can expand your lungs well, and also your heart can reverberate in the chest cavity, which becomes, for those of you who haven't done a lot of this meditation, that is very important a bit later on. So get yourself nice and comfortable. Palms up, hands resting lightly on your thighs, and then close your eyes and just connect with your breath. It can feel a little bit uncomfortable to begin with, meditating with a group of people online. And particularly, I noticed one of the messages earlier, which we will respond to, was saying it's weird being with a group of people that you don't know, and starting to talk about things that are really important. But this, just learning to close your eyes, learning to feel safe and trust within this online group is valuable, very valuable. So close your eyes, connect with your breath, and just gently deepen your breath. You don't have to strain. It doesn't have to be an enormous lungful. It just deepen your breath and make it deeper than it normally is. And I'd like us to begin by imagining you're standing in a circle. We're all in a circle together. We're standing in a circle, and as we're breathing in through the left-hand side. So as you inhale, the breath comes in through the left-hand side of your chest, and as you exhale, the breath goes out of the right-hand side of your chest, and you're sending that breath around the circle. And I'm going to invite you all by name into the circle. So we'll start with Sadiq, Lana, Richard, Karen, Paul, Susan, Amy, Mike, Joanne, Chicha, Trish, Gina, Michelle, Matthew, Patricia, and those who aren't here today, Nelda, Laura, John, Kristen. We'll invite our mentors into the circle. You know who they are, so just invite them in. Susanna and Paran.
Ralph is here.
Yes, I know. Sorry, I missed your name.
Ralph.
Ralph. I'm sorry. I was just about to say the gentleman sitting with Trish because I couldn't remember your name. I do apologize. Okay. So Ralph as well. And we're all in a circle. You're breathing in through the left-hand side of your heart to the left-hand side, and you're breathing out through the right, and you're sending the breath around the circle. And we're standing together. And you're making the breath as smooth as you possibly can. And just let it flow. You may feel some resistance to begin with, but just keep working with it. And let it flow. And I'd like you to send some love with the breath that you're sending around the circle. So just set your intention to send love as you breathe out from your heart to the heart of the person standing beside you. And then as you breathe back in, you will breathe the love from the whole group. As it builds in intensity. And I'd also invite you to add light. Just set the intention to send love and light around this circle. Welcoming all of the people that stand in the group with you. Your mentors and Susanna and Paran. And each other. So breathing in and accepting all that's given to you and giving love and light as you give it away to others. And we'll just stand together and breathe for a little bit longer before moving into a conscious breath meditation. And now I'd invite you to focus back on the breath. Just in your heart, thank everyone who stood in the circle with you, and then bring your attention back to your breath. And just see if you can make it a little bit deeper. Just gently, no straining. Just breathe deeply. And while you're breathing, you may find different things happen. For some people, you have bodily sensations, because one of the purposes of this meditation is about learning to sit in stillness. The body is designed to move, and it will do anything it can to gain your attention when you're sitting in stillness, but we have to master our bodies so that they work for us in the way that we want them to, that we're in charge. So if you have an itch or a pain, just bring your attention back to the breath, this conscious breath. Let your attention flow in and out through your nose, into your lungs, with the air and the energy that you're pulling in, and then let the attention leave the body again with the breath, in and out. You may be a person who has a very active mind, and you might find that your mind tries to get your attention by sending you the most amazing creative thoughts. And you might just want to leap up and write them down. But again, just bring your attention back to the breath. Because this is about concentration, learning to concentrate. It's the first step in meditation. And some of you may have mastered this, either in heart rhythm meditation or in another school of meditation. But for others, it's more difficult. So this is good training to really hold your concentration on the breath. You might find after a little while that emotions begin to rise. When you take over the function of breathing by placing your attention on the breath, it allows another part of your brain that normally deals with automatic breathing to be freed up. And what that does is it stirs your subconscious, the memories that you have, perhaps from the day, impressions that you've picked up that you hadn't thought about at the time, or feelings associated with memories, or just sometimes feelings which you can't pinpoint in terms of origin, but they're there nonetheless. And those emotions can be unsettling. But again, bring your attention back to the breath. Let your attention flow in and out. Keep your body still. And just enjoy the breath. Puran always says a full breath is a full life, and half a breath is half a life. And I believe that's true. It's certainly physiologically true. because it's very hard to be energetic if you don't have the breath. So remember, no straining, just focus on the breath flowing in and out. And if emotions come up, just allow yourself to keep your attention on the breath and let them pass. I always think of them like a wave in the sea, in the ocean. It comes up, rises up, and it feels intense, and then slowly it dissipates and returns to the ocean, the body of the ocean. So, after a while, the pressure sensors in your body will turn off. It's a wonderful thing. So all those itches and all those pains and all those fidgets just seem to disappear, and you no longer can properly distinguish your hands from your thighs. And your body will feel completely still. You are like a mountain, like a solid piece of rock. And this is called the monolithic state. And the wonderful thing about this, and it happens after about 10 minutes, I think, probably over 10 minutes in meditation. The wonderful thing about this is that you suddenly realize that you could move if you wanted to, but you really don't want to move. You're just there in the rhythm of the breath, concentrating as the air flows in and out. And it's a wonderful, calm, peaceful place to be. So that may happen now for you, or it may take a little while to get to there, but I promise you it will happen. All that's required is regular practice and concentration on the breath. The other thing I'd like you to pay attention to is whether during the course of this sitting and focusing on your breath, your breathing has slowed down. This is one of the applications of meditation in everyday life, in stressful meetings, in difficult situations, sitting on the subway or spending time in a stressful environment. What you can do, you can just sit and focus on your breath and stay completely still until you achieve the monolithic state. And then that sense of calmness and peace will slow everything down. I've used this myself. And I can tell you it does work. So now I'd like you to just take a few more breaths and just enjoy this wonderful conscious breath. How often do we notice our breathing? And this is a lovely gift to be able to focus on this life-giving breath. Just spend a few moments just focusing on nothing but the breath. And now I'd like you to just let the deep breathing go. Just relax back into your normal everyday breath. And become aware of your feet on the floor. And your hands in your lap. Just move your feet a little bit, move your hands, your pressure sensors will turn themselves back on. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay. Does anybody have anything they'd particularly like to say about the meditation or what they experienced in the meditation?
Hi, this is Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike.
This happens about half the time when I meditate is just have a lot of fear come up.
Okay. I mean, it's not unusual for fear to come up. And it's part of, I think when you switch off all of the distractions that are going on around you all of the time, and you start to really focus in on you, you know, it's a marvelous, wonderful gift, meditation, because you're essentially giving yourself time and attention. Those things will come up. And it is difficult, I think. But one of the things I would say to you is, if you can stay with it and just breathe through it, the intensity will build, but it will subside again. And once we move along in meditation, once we start to bring in the heartbeat, you've got even more to focus on, because you're actually focusing on your heartbeat as well as your breath. And that, I think, will help with some of that fear. But I would like to ask Sadiq if he's got anything to add to that. There we are. There we are.
Just real briefly, what I admire is your courage to be the first one to speak, and yet it's about fear. Like what a conundrum that was that you presented to all of us, that the first one in the class of 2021 to speak, and it's about fear. That kind of, wrap your mind around that, will you? All right. So I admire that. And I love what, Malik had told you. Those are some good clues. And I would imagine you're speaking not just for yourself, but they're for others. And if they are not now, like Malik had mentioned, it's not an uncommon thing to have that feeling of fear, particularly when you're starting to learn meditation. Another thing that can be helpful is when you're starting out, sometimes just opening your eyes briefly and then closing them, that can help with the fear. It's just trying to go to find that place. The other thing that can be helpful, if that's coming up for you, is taking a look at your meditation space and putting things that were in that space that you feel, pictures of loved ones or things that are really meaningful for you, and just creating that external place of safety can help with fear sometimes that comes up. And there are other things, but not to inundate you with too much, but the fact that you were the one to talk about it, the first one to talk about it, that took a lot of courage. I don't think this is going to be a problem for you in the long run. But I bow to your courage to be the first one to speak and to be about fear, because it's a common experience. And the hope is that you find, and that's one of the things that we do with heart rhythm meditation and others, is that the source of that fear comes up for you. Like, what is it? What is that for me? And it could be as simple as, it could be lots of things. So I don't want to plant things that aren't there, but that my wish for you is that it reveals itself down the road at some point. But anyway, that's all I had, Malik. So real quickly, go ahead.
No, go on, Sadiq. And then Patricia's raised her hand, so I'll unmute her. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Hold on. There we are. Great. You're unmuted.
Oh, okay, great. So the question I have, when Piran was talking initially, and they mentioned the automatic nervous system and when you're breathing, is this happening now when we're doing the deep breaths that you're saying? The automatic nervous system, and he said about stirring up thoughts.
Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit.
About the automatic.
Oh yes, stirring. Yes.
Is this what's supposed to be happening right now as we do this breathing exercise? Not supposed to, but how does that work? I wasn't clear what that was.
Okay. In essence, what happens is when we're walking around normally and we're just breathing, then a part of, you might have to help me with this, Sadiq, because I need to go back over it, but because science isn't my thing. But anyway, the part of your brain that deals with breathing is just breathing. It's just breathing. But when you shift your attention onto the breath, you're essentially taking control of the breath, because you're controlling your breath, you're making it deep. And so therefore that frees up that part of your brain to do kind of other stuff. And what it does is it will quite often, Piran talks about clearing the desk. So what he means by that is quite often, because you take over breathing, your brain, that part of your brain will start to sort of go through the stuff that's happened during the day, and kind of sort it. So impressions that you've had, or, oh, hang on a minute, did she say that? Or did I just imagine she said that? It's all of that sort of minutiae that sticks in your brain. You see it goes in, but you don't pay any attention to it. That's what gets stirred. But what can also get stirred is emotion. Because we all suppress quite a lot of emotion, I think, in our everyday life, because we can't, burst into tears in a meeting at work. I never could anyway, because, people would think you were bonkers. But actually, it may be that you're carrying a lot of stuff that you feel really upset about. So it's sometimes those things get stirred, and when they get stirred, it will come up to you. Because again, same as Mike, you're sitting in the quiet, in stillness. Does that answer your question? I'm going to hand it to Sadiq, because he might be able to be a bit more scientific about that than I am. There we are.
That was good.
Hang on, I'm trying to unmute you.
Yeah.
There we are. I keep unmuting you and you keep muting yourself, Sadiq. Playing ping pong. There we are.
All right, here we go. There we go. So it's a really good question, and I love that question because it's central to what we're going to be, to what we'll be doing. And so part of what we're talking about with the conscious breath, and this is true for all meditations. There is no meditation without conscious breath, whether you're doing, Buddhist meditation, mindfulness, whatever you're doing, it's all about the conscious breath. And so kind of like Malik said, there is the brainstem, and there's no way that we can really, there's science behind it, but we can't necessarily measure this in a way that we have definitive proof, but So part of what kind of goes on for all of us, and we'll read more about it later, and we talk about vagal tone and the vagus nerve. That's really what we're trying to activate when we're meditating, and to give you kind of an experience of what to kind of compare and contrast would be. So when we get into and we activate that, the mind has a way of kind of calming itself down, like Malik or Param was talking about, of kind of clearing the desk. So just in the last few minutes, think about what it was like when you first came onto the class, and there we all are, and then you sat for the meditation, and then how the mind, by listening to Malik and the meditation, your mind kind of cleared and calmed in a way. Those experiences are going to get deeper and be more profound as your practice continues. But it's a great question, and I'm trying not to dovetail into other topics. But are there other questions that Malik can answer related to the meditation, or myself, if I can help? And it's also in the reading too. So, and you'll have other stuff that's one of the things, just real briefly, that Paran and Susanna have really done with heart rhythm meditation, is really taken the science behind it and really made this pop, and really made this to give you, like, it's not just about this esoteric kinds of material, but it's also about the science behind it. You know, what's truly the cutting edge science behind meditation. So anyway, any other questions that people or comments that people wanted to make about the meditation?
Okay, Gina. Hello, there we are, Gina.
Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just sharing because recently I had met to a point of my life that I've cleared out all of the small things, other stuff in my life, and I'm dealing with main issues in my life that's like kind of stopping me from moving forward, or like having that flexibility, having that space to embrace new possibility. And when I was doing the meditation today, I noticed there's a lot of resistance within me. It's natural to meet resistance, but when in my meditating experience is more like, the first thing I noticed is that it's resisting to breathing deeper. It's resisting to taking more air, because with more air there's more like space it creates, and it will loosen up that like tight little box that my habit made up. So that's the first thing I noticed. And the second thing is that, there's a big block in my head too that also stores a lot of like swallowed yarn. I don't know how to describe it, so this is how I describe it. Like, sometimes we force ourselves to not be so tired, so we basically stop ourselves from yarning and like just simply breathing in those air, and those air that haven't been coming out is stucking in my head. And those are the things I mentioned in today. I noticed in today's meditation, and I feel like it might take some time to actually release all that, but yeah.
That's really interesting, actually, and thank you for raising that, because I think we are not. There are two things that came to mind when you were speaking, Gina. One was that we are often conditioned, and I think for a long time we've been saying women are conditioned to be quiet, to be small, to be not to make too much fuss. But I think that's true of men as well. I mean, I think depending on the environment you're working in, depending on the upbringing you've had, it is important. It has been important in your life to remain quiet, small, not small, but not be your, rumbustious self. And bringing in more air gives you more life. There is no doubt about it. Just at a physiological level, you're bringing in more oxygen, which is feeding all of the cells in your body, and therefore it's giving you more physical energy. And so if you have been, that can be quite frightening, frankly. And I think, therefore, the two things you're talking about are linked, because if you're not taking in enough air and not taking in enough oxygen, you can begin to feel sleepy, and you can begin to feel like I'm going to, to yawn, because what a yawn is doing is making you drag in more air. See, you're yawning. It makes you drag in.
I yawn a lot in meditation.
Yes, but it makes you drag in the air that you're resisting. So what I would say to you is just go gently, treat yourself gently. This is not a sprint. This is something you're learning now that will stay with you to the end of your life, So you don't have to rush at it. You can just go gently and a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, and the more confident you become with the meditation and the technique, the easier it will be to take in more air. And when you get to the residency, which will be in a year's time in Tucson, they will test, they will work with you around your capacity, your air, your lung capacity, and how much air you're taking in. It's a very interesting thing. So, Sadiq, do you have anything you want to add to that? Hang on, let me unmute you.
Well,
oh God.
So I don't have anything to add to that. So I'm good. So okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to say? Right, Amy, hold on. There we go. Oh, Amy, you unmute yourself. I think there you are.
Okay.
Lovely.
Got it. Thank you. I've been having trouble with upper back, neck tension. I tend to hold lots of stress there. And sometimes I'm okay when I meditate, but lots of times I'm not. And I know a lot of the literature says that when you get into a space and it feels good and the pain will melt away. That hasn't really been my experience. Sometimes it'll feel better, but a lot of times it'll actually start to feel worse because I'm paying attention to it. Whereas when I'm moving around, it feels better. And in my posture, I tend to been meditating for a while, but I feel like I'm still trying to find a good posture for myself where it's actually relaxed.
Okay, I've got sort of three things that have popped into my mind. The first one is it could be about the chair. It could, I took a long time to find the right chair for me. And like you, I carry all my tension in my neck and shoulders. So it took me a long time. And I have a complicated system of cushions, which I have under my bottom, my back, all over the place, which I finally got right. But I've been doing this for 12 years or something. And it took me a good year to get myself sorted out. And what was suggested to me at the time, Amy, was I think Paran in total desperation said, well, if you're really, really uncomfortable, lay on the floor, just lay on the floor, because actually then you're taking all the pressure off. It's best not to meditate on the floor because you fall asleep. It's a nice place to be as opposed to sitting upright. And the other thing that was suggested to me was a walking meditation. If you're somebody who's very active, until such time as you get into a position where you can sit comfortably in stillness, and it is always preferable to do that, if you start to get to a point where the tension is so great that you're not focused on the meditation anymore, you're focused on the pain in your neck, then you can do a walking meditation. And Asatar Bear, Paran's son, describes in Living from the Heart how to do a walking meditation. I take it you've all got Living from the Heart. because that's, right, okay. That's the source. Oh, let me just collapse my entire book. There we are. It's this one. Oh, I'll take the sticky off the front. It's this one. It's the source material for this course. And I would recommend it. I mean, you know, you don't have to buy it, but I would recommend that you see if you can get your hands on a copy, because there's an awful lot of stuff in here that will support what we're teaching you over the next few weeks. Sorry, Sadiq, carry on.
No, not to interrupt, but there's a new edition out now.
Oh, right, okay.
There's a third edition that I think they mentioned it in the reading that's available now. And it's very similar, but there's it's a lot of updated material in it. So the cover looks a little bit different, but you can get it on Amazon, but it's the third edition. And I don't even know if I noticed when I went to look that I didn't even know if I could get the second edition or the first, but you probably can. But anyway, but you do at least want to get the second edition because that has a lot more information in it. And I haven't had a chance to look at the third edition because that just came out like in February or March, and I just haven't had a chance to take a look at it. But that's all. I just wanted to.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I hope that's helpful, Amy. Do you have a copy of Living from the Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay. So Asatar, I mean, he still is a great runner and a walker. And he describes really well how to do that. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say before we proceed? Because I think I'm a bit worried about the time. Okay. Right. I'm going to hand back to Sadiq. Thank you very much. They were really good questions, actually. And as Sadiq said, just if you think of something after the class, just email us and we will answer it in the dome. Okay. There we are.
So anyway, my breath's a little taken away because this is our first class. It feels like third or fourth because everybody's talking about their meditations, and that typically doesn't happen when we. So it's just the energy is already, the momentum of this class is, if you can feel it, it's already going, and we have a lot of. This is I think you guys heard in the embarkment, at least I did, because I had a retreat right after you guys, and there was quite a buzz about your class, about that this is a great class. It's very special. It's very unique. They're really bonded already. I think we have like 7 men or 6 men in this class. I think 7, Prawn said, if I remember correctly. That's never happened before. I think we have 2 or 3 couples. There we go. We have 2 or 3 couples that are taking this class. I know that's never happened before. So that's exciting, and I'm really, I'm slated to teach your 106 class with Hafiz, so I'm going to be really excited to see how you guys, how this all comes together for you guys as you get going. Somebody said they had a 3rd edition, and that's fine. Yeah, but I didn't get to read the whole message here. Let me pop that up. I think you're okay. I don't know, Mike, how different that 3rd edition is for the 2nd edition. And you don't. I mean, it does help for this class and the next one, 101, 102, and then they recommend a different book for 103. But it does help. But like Malik had said, it's not like mandatory. It's just a really helpful to have. Like, for example, in the assignment tab this week, they talked about, forming a goal, and they gave you some examples in the book of some possible goals that to start thinking about and formulate that you really would like to achieve in these next 2 years. Like, so when you think about that, like, obviously the things that you're going to want to consider, what brought you to this community, that I'm sure that it's going to influence your goal. things you'd really like to, you know, where you'd like to not just see improvement, but like transform some part of your life. And usually there, it's within those areas that Paran talked about a little bit about, which is relationships, achievements, work, and the other one's not coming up the top of my head, but there's usually 4 areas that we focus on. But anyway, when you come up with your goal, like I mentioned in the reading, you want to try to be as specific as possible. So consider that. The more specific it is, the better. It's easier it's going to be for you to achieve that goal and to see your progress, so to make it measurable. And Malik and I will help you out with that. If when you send your goal or whatever, if we'll just be kind of tossing that back and forth to help you guys, you know, really narrow it down. Because again, the more specific it is just so much better. Health, okay. Health is another one Trisha's mentioning. Health was the other one that you might have a goal around. And this is another way where heart rhythm meditation differs from other forms of meditation. I don't know, some of you may have done some other mindfulness or other kinds of meditation where the primary goal for some of these schools of thought is this place of no thought, if that's kind of the goal. That is not what we do here. That's why we do applied meditation. It's one of the reasons why we're a little bit different in how we apply what it is that we're doing. So a little bit what we do know about meditation, and not even heart rhythm meditation, because there's not a lot of research specific to heart rhythm meditation, but there is a lot of meditation, a lot of research on just meditation itself. So what we do know with a consistent practice, anywhere from 3 to 5 years, depending on the consistency of your practice, how often you practice, you not only change like where your brain lights up, like how you think, but you also change the function of your brain. There are parts of your brain that even changes, that if you were to have if they could look at your brain, the physical function of it before you had an ongoing practice and after, they would know you're a meditator because of there would be specific things in your brain that have actually changed. So, and there's a lot of you guys know, there's tons of research out there about the benefits of meditation. What I like about heart rhythm meditation and being a therapist, it's one of the primary tools I use with my adult clients is that I teach heart rhythm meditation. And like we had talked about a little bit, I don't know of another more effective tool to not only get access to what your wounds are, but how to treat them. And you guys are going to be going through a lot of that in the next 2 years. And there are going to be times that you guys are going to, some of you, if not all of you, and this is true for every class, where it gets super hard, and then you're going to want to maybe drop out or not want to practice, or what I would let you know, that's real common, and that's okay. But what I would really encourage you to do is to stick in there with it. Susan, who was it? It was Gina, I think, that mentioned resistance, and that's part of what's going to come up for you guys, is a lot of resistance as you continue to practice. I'm really super excited for you guys, because I think in my introductory message, and I have been involved in a number of classes and know a number, I don't know, well over 100 people that I personally know that have finished this program. And I don't know any of them that have not gone through some profound, deep transformation of some sort that finished the program. Anyway, but I did want a couple of other things that I wanted to mention before. I wanted to give some time for people to talk a little bit about, just introduce themselves a little bit. So as it relates to the dome, and you'll see in there where you can do a public message and a private message. myself or Malik will be giving you a private message each time you complete an assignment, okay? And then, and when you hit, there's this thing called the Us tab, and then we would hit that to see who has hit the up in the upper hand corner, when you upper right hand corner, I think it's this says assignment. When you hit, it's about the assignment, and then that triggers this mechanism for us, and we go to that Us tab to see, okay, who's completed their assignment, and then that lets us know that we need to check that. So Malik and I, we will respond to obviously all assignment posts. That's really important that we do that. However, the most of the rest of the responding is up to your group, because you're building this heart container that is, we call the class of 2021, and it's about you supporting one another. It's about you, all of you just really holding one another through these next 2 years. So we really would discourage you guys to doing any, or once in a while it's okay, but the private messaging, because what we like to do is create this place of vulnerability, and vulnerability has this way of making this heart connection. It's like the miracle grow of relationships and connection is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and then allowing yourself to be held when you're vulnerable. However, you need to do that when you feel safe. And so I would encourage you to take those little steps into vulnerability. And there is a little bit in the reading about that. And this is all much different than other forms of meditation. We would not be talking about vulnerability, which is one of the core tenets of our school, in other forms of meditation that I'm aware of. So I did want to mention that before before we start having you guys, tell us a little bit about yourself, so that we have time to do that. Malik, I wanted to see if there was something that, there is a lot to cover, but is there something you think we need to cover today?
Well, the only thing I wanted to say to people is we will, as Sadiq said, respond to all your assignment posts. And I have put a post in the Dome this morning just to explain all of that. But we will not, at the moment, there aren't many posts, so we're responding quite quickly. In the fullness of time, in my class, we were writing 400 posts per room, and we nearly killed one of our teachers, because in the days when I did it, there was only one teacher, and the poor thing was, we really did her in. So what I would say to you is, we may not respond immediately. Once you get going, and you will, we may take 24 to 48 hours to respond. It's going to be nearer 24, but and we will do our level best to well, we will always meet that, but we will do our level best to get to you quicker than that. But I just wanted to warn you, because sometimes you're waiting for a response and nothing's happening. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and yeah, it's a great point. And on that note, because you'll find, particularly if I mentioned, if you've let yourself be vulnerable and you're kind of hanging out there with this vulnerable post, you'll feel like, oh my, anxiety rise, because you've kind of made yourself vulnerable. If those posts come up and it is a pretty vulnerable, we will do our best to get to it as soon as we can. I know for me, I'm a full-time clinician. I have a private practice, and then I also work in a residential facility for young men. So, and then I commute, an hour each way to work. So I'm not always able to respond nearly as quickly as I could. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna respond unless my heart is in the place that I can respond. If I've had a super long day and I don't have a lot of heart energy, so to speak, I might wait till the morning to respond, my morning on the East Coast. And sometimes what I'll do too is, if it's super important that I just take what you've written into my heart and just let it sit there and let it kind of compost that we sometimes refer to. I have you on my mind and in my heart, and I want to make sure that before I hit that send button, I've got it. So, but they just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. So two, what I will say, we're going to be super mindful of your time. So given the size of this class, a pretty big sized class, it'll be 90 minutes, the same time every Saturday. And we'll try to be super mindful of trying to end the class like right at that 90-minute mark. And again, like Malik said, if you didn't end up having a question answered or you had some concern, go ahead and put it in the dome, and we'll be happy to respond to it. Again, I'm super excited. You guys are going to be amazed at what you go through as individually as you go through this. And I don't know what else to say, but it's going to be a transformative 2 years for all of you. And I'm excited for all of you. So, but on that note, I'm just wondering if anybody would like to introduce themselves that didn't get a chance to speak already, but because we have a few minutes left to do that. No, and no pressure. You don't have to talk. Okay, Lana. Let me unmute. Oh, you did. You got that unmuted. Okay.
Okay. Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's Lana.
Lana, thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm sorry I missed everybody at Embarkation, but I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to spending the next 2 years together. I know I met Amy at the Archetype retreat, so it's really nice to see your face. And I think there was one other person, I don't know if she's up, but that I might have met at another retreat in March. So I was involved with a different meditation before, and I look forward to the structure of this class and working with the mentor and everything. So anyway, so I'm just looking forward to the class.
Great, Lana. And thank you too for help. If any of us mispronounce your name, please let us know, because it is super important that we get that right. But again, the other thing too that you mentioned that we've talked a little bit about, I think has everybody met with their mentor so far, at least on one occasion? No. Do you guys know who your mentors are? Those that are shaking your head? Okay. There's some no's. So what we may do, and Malik and I will be in contact occasionally with your mentors, so that your mentors can read your post response, but nobody else's. And so it gives them an idea of where you're at in our process. So if you haven't heard from them yet, I will send them an email message just to kind of, so that I don't know why you haven't or you have. It is early in the game, but we'll do that. Malik, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I noticed a number of people haven't actually got mentors yet. When I looked at the US list, there are at least 2 or 3 yes. There are at least 2 or 3 people who haven't got a mentor yet. You will definitely be allocated one. There's no question of that. But if you are concerned about it, let us know and we'll chase it up. Or you can contact Alma, Leah Schaefer directly.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Lana. Anybody else like to follow Lana? It seemed like I saw a hand up earlier.
Oh, Trish, there we are.
Hi, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. And Ralph and I just very recently decided to do this. So that's why we don't have mentors. So we're patient and we know they'll be assigned. But I just want to thank everybody for being here, because I'm pretty sure we all have a gift to contribute.
Can I just apologize to Ralph? I'm so sorry. I could see you sitting there and I just couldn't rustle up your name from anywhere in my brain. It will never happen again. Really do apologize.
We call him the captain.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'm sorry, Captain.
It's quite all right. No hard feelings.
Oh, yeah, great. Welcome. I appreciate that. And if you guys probably, I don't think you'll, if it's not right, your name is not right or misspelled in the bottom right hand or left hand corner, you can put your cursor over that and change it. You'll notice there that if you want to change something, you can do it. I had to do it this morning, as did Malik, so because it's a new room for us in the course. But all right, on that note, and I think I saw Michelle, you had your hand up. Would you like to go ahead? Let me unmute you. And on that, go ahead. On that note,
I think I'm unmuted.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, I just wanted to let you guys. Does everybody see how you mute and unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Like up in there. Okay, great.
Yeah. Hi, Michelle Ashley. I just wanted to say hi. I'm glad to be here. I know a few people already. Chicha, Miss Owl, and John and Laura, who are not here this morning, and I've met Mike and Rich. So, and looking forward to getting to know everyone else as well. And I had just a curiosity as to, you mentioned that there are 7 men in this class and that was unusual, which I presume means there are typically less than that. And I was wondering if you had any insight as to why that was.
Yeah, that's not in the material, is it? As far as like, why is there more women than men? I think part of what, so we're particularly in the West, men are not really taught to come from this place of the heart. And we talk about this culture of the heart, right? What we're promoting. So it goes kind of counterculture to what, what we as men have been taught to be and what it means to be a man, sometimes in Western society. Because what we're learning and doing here is about all of us, not just men, about getting more in touch with that deeper aspect of ourselves that our culture says is more kind of a feminine quality, which again I don't agree with. But what we talk about too, as far as when we talk about those qualities and kind of how what we talk about as far as being emotionally intelligent, that is not something that's commonly known for like stereotypically for men to be emotionally intelligent. So maybe this, at least at this point in our evolution in Western society, we don't get a huge draw right yet, but it's one of the things that we're really promoting. It's not just in spiritual schools, but particularly in our spiritual school, that the divine feminine and the masculine divine, that they're both super important. Like you'll see a lot of already in Western, like spirituality or religion. It's very male dominated. But we're really from a school of thought that believes that they're both incredibly and profoundly important, both the masculine and the feminine energies. And that's why we have, like, I'm not aware of any other spiritual school having this aspect as a male and female teachers, which are Pran and Suzanne. I don't know if that answered your question. But I don't know if Malik had something to add to that too.
Well, I was just before Chicha speaks, I was going to say there were about 7 men in the class, my class, 2014. It was a really good mix, actually. And the class before me were really envious because they said it seemed to make such a difference to the way we connected with one another and made us think much more broadly. Because you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole if there are a lot of women. I mean, if there are a lot of women, you can end up down a rabbit hole, getting very caught up in just women's issues, and there are very serious issues relating to being a woman in this particular world at the moment particularly. But actually, you just need to get the balance. It's really important. So that's what I would say. But I'll let Chicha speak. There we are. Well, I'd like to, but can you unmute yourself, Chicha? Oh, there we are. Good.
Hi, I'm Chicha. Nice to see everybody. I know several of y'all from the embarkation and several from friends and family, but I wasn't sure, Michelle, whether you were asking why specifically this time there seemed to be more men, or just what the, no.
No, just, I guess just in general, why typically there were fewer men than women in this type of experience or class. And I mean, it was pretty much, I suspected, the answer that Malik gave was probably why, but I was just curious as to if they had any particular insight. Yeah, so that was my curiosity.
Checking on that. It's good to see them, man. It's good to see a better balance. So it's unusual for healing groups and workshops that I've been a part of, and it's just really nice to be.
It's encouraging and hopeful.
To, balance. Yeah. It's nice. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Great. We have time for a few more, and I appreciate everybody. Go ahead, Gina. Put your hand up.
So, hi everybody, I'm Gina, and Susanna already introduced me that I'm from Taiwan, and I'm now college student. Yeah, a college student. I suppose I'm the youngest in the history of IMU, right? Maybe. I don't know. I've met Paul and Amy in the Bethlehem workshop. Hi, Paul. And yeah, and I knew Patricia from my public IMU 102 course this spring, I think, right? Yeah, and do I need to mention the reason why I joined this class? Yeah, and I actually struggled for a bit to join this years program because at one point my heart really yearned for it, but on the other hand, I am very much demanding on my parents to pay the tuition fee. So there's some negotiation there, but well, actually this class actually made me feel so good by just reading through your introduction post. Well, I just posted yesterday because I was very much caught up with my schoolwork, but by just joining this class, I really feel the energy and like how friendly you guys are. So yeah, looking forward to be your classmate in the next 2 years. Yep.
All right, thank you, Gina. You might be the youngest one. I know we've had some graduate students before in their late 20s. I'm not sure, how old you are, but we always love it when we do have younger students that join us, because that is even more uncommon than men not being involved, is a younger students, and it gives me a lot of hope for humanity in some respects, that when we draw younger people, because it's those younger people that will carry on things that we teach and that we learn here. So welcome. I'm really excited to have you aboard. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And sorry.
Go ahead.
Anybody who wants to practice meditation with me, just message me. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else that hasn't had a chance? Rich, go ahead. Can you unmute yourself up in the upper right hand? There you go. Good.
Okay. Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I'm Rich. Here in Houston. It's great to meet you all here on the screen. I look forward to meeting everyone in person sooner or later. Yeah, it took me a while to sign up. I was on the fence for a long time. I signed up last week, I think. My friends Chicha and another friend, Pat, who has gone through this course before, were big help and kind of talking to me about it and explaining different things. And so here I am, and I'm really looking forward to the next 2 years.
All right. Well, welcome, Rich, and I'm glad you decided to make that commitment. And it's a huge commitment that you guys have all made, you know, in time and resources, and I think you will not be disappointed when it gets to the end of the 2 years. You guys are going to be on an amazing journey. So, welcome, Rich. Yeah, Paul.
I noticed that Lana has 2 format questions. I'd be interested in hearing the answers to them.
2 format questions. Let's see. All right. So one is assignment is posted this Wednesday, the 17th. So yeah, I think Alma mentioned that too. So the class, we have until like next, we'll have a new room opening up on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we have a new room that opens up. So the idea is if you can get all of those assignments done before Wednesday, that will help you, because it's super easy to get kind of behind. So I would encourage you to, to try to keep up. There's going to be a lot of and particularly in 101, I've noticed there's a lot of reading material. There are in some of the other classes, and some rooms have more than others. But yeah, so try to get your assignment done before that next room is open. That'll help you, not get too far behind. And then it says, also, should we be logging in our meditation? That is, the meditation logs are for your benefit. I mean, if you'd like to use that, a lot of people find it helpful. It's not a requirement that you log that into the logs that are provided. Some people have different apps, and there's lots of apps out there that you can use if you're, depending on what you're logging. I use one on I don't remember what it's called now, but I use it to not only meditate how long I meditated, but what was my meditation, what was the quality of my meditation, and I just something that I designed. But I have used and do like the one that I Am Heart provides. So again, that's for not a requirement, just something to help you kind of, keep track. And I don't know, did that answer your question, Paul?
I suppose an advantage of that too, if we were to use the meditation log, is that if we wanted to talk about it with our mentor, they could look at the meditation log. Correct.
Yeah, and they will have access to your logs, and then also to your posts. Yes, Malik.
I just wanted to reiterate the bit about the assignments. When I got to the end of 2 years and I looked back, you have to have completed all your assignments to complete the course. I realized that I'd been very sketchy on some of my assignments and trying to remember what I'd been doing 2 years ago in terms of a meditation. And I then started trying to do all the meditations again in order to, I would really recommend, even if you're busy, even if you just put a paragraph, you don't have to write an essay, just put a paragraph in going, didn't feel much, or it was amazing, or it was somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. It's just about getting it in and marking that it was your assignment, because it really will help you at the end. Because at the end you'll have, there's a lot, it sort of builds in intensity, this course. There's a lot to do at the end.
Yeah, and on that note too, it can be really, particularly as we get started, people are going to have different experiences and have different specialties as far as their meditation. And I know for some people, and I was included in that, like, why are some people having all these amazing experiences and I'm not, right? So just, honor wherever you are at. There are times when you're not going to feel anything. There are going to be times you don't experience anything, but it's a kind of an exercise in patience and just sticking with the practices and and kind of figuring out like what is your specialty. But you're not going to have the same experiences as other people. And if you don't have the experience, that's okay. We don't have all the same experiences. Just honor whatever it is that you experience. And also, I think an important thing to remember is it's not so much the experience and meditation that we're really, that the school is really, really about. It's how are you between your meditations? How have you changed as an individual? How are you a different person? That's really what we're most interested in. And I know that's why I did it, was not to have these profound meditation experiences, but because it was a route for me to be a better person. And that's why I started. So anyway, we can probably go a few more minutes and if you guys, somebody needs to leave because we're at the 90-minute mark, but please feel free. But if you can hang out with us for a little bit, that's okay too. So who else that would like to kind of introduce herself? Did we miss somebody? I don't think we've heard from Matthew or Susan yet, or let's see, or Karen. I think that's it, or Joanne. Anybody, one of you guys? Joanne, would you like to speak?
Yes, I apologize for the exit. I'm in Costa Rica and people came as possible renters. So that's why I didn't know how to say, I have to go. So anyway, and they want to rent it. So, so that is why I left. And what I want to say about the conference so far, or the session today, is I really like the idea of enjoying the breath. I've never had that idea. So that is, I think will make meditation, give it a different aspect instead. And then I really like the idea of that we're going to be working towards transformation, and I liked everything I heard today. I thought it was really exciting, and I thought the Mike, I think it was, who was started with such courage, that was really great. And I really like the idea of vulnerability as tenet of this whole thing, because that can be challenging, and but something I want to work on for sure. And it's really pretty exciting to be in with a group of people, all of us so like-minded and wanting to do the best we can to change with what how far we've come so far, and just continue on the path. So it's really exciting, and we'll see what these 2 years bring.
Yeah, Joanna, it was so nice to have you, and I'm a little jealous you're in Costa Rica right now, and I wish I was in Costa Rica right now. So, yeah, I'm excited too. And one of the things, and I can't speak for Malik, but after all of the various courses and training that I've had, and then I come back and go to the beginning, it's like I get something new out of it each time I read and look at the material. So it's like it never is dull and boring. And this 101 class that you're going to be doing is the cornerstone to everything else you'll be doing. So I would encourage you guys to as later on to come back to this and relook at some of the stuff, and because I'm finding as I go back and look again and read this material again, I'm getting something brand new out of it, the new insights, things that I didn't consider before. And you'll find that with all the courses you take, because there is a lot of things there, and the material is rich. And it's really one of Susanna Perron's really gifts, that how they are able to build this course and this program now for the 20 years is amazing. It's something short of amazing. So there is a lot here in 101. And again, it's just going to be, super important that you try to get as much of it as you can, but don't get too worried about how much you get to. I remember Paran once saying, don't get too worried about taking notes when I'm talking, that you'll get what you need, in that moment. You'll get what you need, that somehow that you'll get it. And I think what he was saying to me is just be really present. Just be really present, and then you'll get what you need for wherever you are right now in your own practices. So, and again, and thank you, Joanne. It was nice to have you. And who else would like to? Karen or Matthew? And then there was somebody on the phone. I don't know who that was, but
Myself.
Hey, Matthew. Go ahead.
Hello. I just want to say hello to everybody, and I have to run. And I will see you all next week.
That was a great hello, goodbye. Thank you. I appreciate that.
See ya.
All right. Anybody else in that same predicament that would like to say hello or goodbye, or just something? Karen, there you go. I saw your hand raised. Do we get to hear your voice? I'm just curious. Let me see if I can. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I have to dash too, but hello to everyone. It was great to see everybody's face and hear people's voices, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 years. So I got to go.
All right.
Great to hear it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Anyone else that hasn't had a chance to speak so far? And I'm not sure, you came on briefly, the individual that's on the phone. I thought your name popped up, but yes, Malik, did you?
I was going to say the individual on the phone is Lana.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Lana, I will have no trouble with your name because that's how we pronounce it here. So, which is a relief. Yeah, no, that was Lana. I don't know who the other person was, though. It may have been Kristen because she came and went. So
yeah. Okay. Susan, did you want to say hello?
Okay, I just unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to say hi to everybody. Some of you I met at Embarkation. Some of you I met in a previous class. I think that was Matthew and Gina. So anyway, I'm enjoying the energy and really looking forward to what's going to happen. I admit I had some anticipation this morning, as I do to anything new, especially if it's online. But yeah, feel very comfortable and very welcome. So thank you all, and hello, goodbye.
And hello and greetings. I'm so glad you could make it. And yeah, that is kind of I think we talked about it a little bit, but and I can't explain how this works about the distance not making a difference, but you will find in the next 2 years that your classmates may become like your best friends in life at the end of this 2 years. You will have a connection by the time you're done with this all, that it makes no sense to you because you just saw their face and a couple times maybe in residency and maybe some retreats, but you will develop a relationship that makes no sense to why you're so connected to these people. I know I can speak for myself. Some of my best friends are my class that I went through, that I did this with, and I'm still very connected to them. And Malika's shaking her head like, yeah, that's true for her too. So you guys are gonna get really close to each other. So, and it's such a blessing. All right, Malik, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to close with?
no, I wonder. What I would like to ask, I think, just a question of people, and if you could think about it. The source of the material in the 101, in the whole course, is, well, obviously Susanna and Paran, but is based on the teachings of Hazrat Inayat Khan, who was a mystic and a musician. And we always have this debate at the beginning about whether we should put much in about Hazrat Inayat Khan, whether that will switch people off, because often people have suffered as a result of being part of some sort of organised religion, or just really switched off by all of that stuff. So I'd like you to think about that, because it would be helpful for us to know. We will give you, we will occasionally give you a quote from Hazrat Inayat Khan, because he was just an amazing bloke, years ahead of his time. I mean, you know, he really was. And some of the things he says are so apposite that I can't resist sort of handing them on to you. But if you feel really uncomfortable about that, I hope that diminishes over the 2 years, but it would be good for us to know at this stage, so we don't cause any unnecessary offence. That's all I want to say.
It's a great point too. Somebody here too, and I don't remember, got kind of the same route I did, which was through Howard Glasser. Who was that again? Is that person here? It was Trisha? Did I hear that right? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of Howard Glasser it's a particular method, and I'm using that method. It's called the Nurtured Heart Approach, and it's a method that we use with kids and families, you know. But anyway, that original method, its core is Hazrat Inayat Khan's teaching. And Howard Glasser and Puran used to be friends, and they still used to, or I don't think they do anymore, but they used to attend each other's conferences and support one another. So, and even there's some speculation that Maria Montessori, in charge of who developed the Montessori school, was in contact with Hazrat Inayat Khan, and there are teachings that are very parallel to Hazrat Inayat Khan's, and we don't know Marie Montessori. We don't know if she actually for sure got some of her ideas and concepts from Hazrat Inayat Khan, but we do know that they met each other and that they had some kind of a relationship. So in Malik's point, that a lot of what we're going to be doing comes from this teaching. In the same way, if we were doing mindfulness, we might be giving you some things about Buddha, because that's where mindfulness came from. So, and again, and it is an exercise in vulnerability for someone to say, you know, hold on, wait a minute, I'm having some problems with that, and we can't address. And I would so admire any vulnerability in any way that you can, bring that up if you're feeling uncomfortable or it doesn't quite feel right. That's being vulnerable, and that's really what we're asking you to do. Yeah, Michelle, go ahead.
Well, since you're asking, I had a thought this morning. I did is it the heart measurement? I don't know if I'm saying
index,
it right.
Heart index, yeah.
The index, yeah. I did that this morning, and I noticed on the side that there was a quote from him. And what I noticed was that it was all in the male, which is understandable because he died in 1927. I looked him up, and I know that in that era and in many eras and still in some places today, that is considered, well, that's just how we refer to mankind. It's mankind rather than womankind. And so I wondered if perhaps it might make sense just since we're talking about expanding our hearts from the university standpoint, if when we quote something that is from a historic perspective of something perhaps a bit more misogynistic, if we couldn't maybe just bracket in woman, because I know that when I translate in my head, when I read something, and not to dismiss men at all, but when I read something and I put woman in there instead of man, I got to tell you, it hits me differently, because we women are just used to not hearing things spoken to us about us being strong or powerful or whatever it is. And again, not to at all be dismissive of the fellas, but I just wondered if perhaps we could amend that, not to misquote him, but to perhaps bracket it in or something so that we women felt a bit more inclusive as we read those things. So that was my thought as I read it this morning.
And I'm going to defer right away to Malik, because she's itching. She's just itching.
I am. I'll tell you why I'm itching, because I was exactly in your chair in 2014 or whenever it was, 2012, I started exactly in your chair in the first week going, what is going on? This is all about men. But in fact, Paran has made an enormous number of, he's adapted a lot of what Hazrat Inayat Khan has written to include men and women. And I think that's really important. And I gave a quote to, I think it was Matthew, had written an assignment and I responded to it. And I put in brackets, woman next to man for that very reason, Michelle. Yeah. And I'm terribly sorry, but my dog is driving me nuts. He's trying to get in. So if you can hear barking, it's Henry. Yeah, so that's what I would say. And Susanna and Paran are incredibly sensitive to it as well. But the problem is he has just said some phenomenally, insightful and clever things. And so I think we just have to remember it. And if we forget, just remind us. Just keep reminding us. I shouldn't forget, but and
it's a great point. It's one of the things that's different about our school. Like I was alluding to earlier, it's like the feminine energy is incredibly, the divine feminine energy is super important in our school. And that is one of the things that is different about our school, that with the emphasis that we put on that. So anything that you'd like to do or anybody wants to do to make sure that, it doesn't maybe have this, masculine slant. And also, as you most of you know, and all of you know, a lot of times when Hazrat Inayat Khan or any teacher relates to, uses the word man, he's referring to mankind, but it could be womankind. But so it's like, if it hits you differently, and knowing, Michelle, that it hits you differently, I will respond now because you allowed yourself to be vulnerable to say how it hits you differently, to say, it will all be translated into that divine feminine energy that anytime I respond now to your posts. So thank you for doing that. So
thank you.
Yes. Chicha, sorry. You want to unmute? There you go.
Yeah, I did. Along those lines, not to make anybody wrong, but just, and this is a little maybe harder for folks to think about such a pattern, but the you guys comment, just, I don't know, just everyone says it and it's exclusive. So I don't want to be poking at every little thing right off the bat, but that just strikes me when I hear that. So, men and women, all of you, besides you guys, because I'm not a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear you, and again, it gets so embedded, right, in our culture and our language. And I appreciate the sensitivity that you're bringing to that, how that hits you when we use terms that have like a gender nuances to it. And thank you for doing that, because it makes us all, let's be more aware of how that affects each of us. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Paul?
Since embarkation, I find myself, even though I live in Pennsylvania, I'm saying you all a lot more.
Yeah, no, and you're going to find that as you get going and along, your heart becomes even more and more sensitive. And so you're tuned into things in like a year from now or 2 years from now that you were never tuned into before, that might hit you in a different way. But I appreciate that what everybody's doing right now is saying, you know what, this hits me already in a way that, could you please be sensitive about it? And I admire that, because you're saying something about your own heart and what's important to you. And we're in the first class. You guys are just blowing me away about how you're doing this already. So it's beautiful. Malik, I think you had something it looked like you might have wanted to add.
No, not really. I was just, I responded to Trish and Ralph. I think you said humankind. I think humankind is a really great way of describing, all conditions, really. So we'll do our best. We will do our best. I think Gina wanted to speak. Paul, did you want to say something?
It seems as though Trish and Ralph had a different question from before to Sadiq. They asked, did you say that the I Am Heart has a meditation app?
That's a great question. They don't have an actual app like you would see, like something you could, download. They do have a podcast that I think you probably have access to already when you poll. Does everybody have access to the page where you have like the dome and the app and the I Am Heart web database? Does that sound familiar to everybody? And if not, I'll send the link, and if you don't have access to it, that helps us know. Maybe it's not quite set up yet under your account or whatever. Yeah, I'll look into that. But there's not an app per se, but there is, a podcast that you can listen to. And then go ahead. Who else? Malik, did you see something else that I may have missed as we're...
Well, I was just going to say, the app I used at the beginning was called Insight Timer, which you can just download. And I think they do that, you can, basically it's very good for setting times. And also, if you're not setting times, for knowing how long you've meditated for. It's quite useful. I don't use it anymore, and you'll find you grow through it very quickly, but it's really helpful at the beginning. And I think Gina wanted to say something.
Okay. Gina?
Did I accidentally raise my hand? No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. That's all good. All right. Yes. Go ahead, Amy.
I have a Zoom question. I'm currently stuck in a private chat and I can't get back onto chat with everybody.
Okay. So if you go back into the chat room, let's see, and
I can see all the chat from everybody, and then there's a line, and then there's the person that I just privately chatted with.
Right.
I can type there, but above the line, I can't. I can click on it, but there's no cursor.
There's a little drop down where it says the person, and then you can change that to a different person or to everyone.
There you go.
Do you see that?
You can show me later, so don't take up time.
Sounds good.
I appreciate you guys helping each other out, because there are going to be some things that that I may not know, or Malik might not know, and without playing with that a little bit, I'm not sure if you guys seem to have gotten that. That's great. All right, other questions or comments from anybody as we close here?
Anybody else in Pennsylvania?
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yes, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, all right. Malik, anything else from you?
No, I just want to say this has been absolutely great. I'm really looking forward to the next, I don't know how many weeks, 8 weeks. It'll be great to get to know you all and get you on your way for the rest of the course.
And I can stay with you a little bit. It looks like my client is not going to show, so I do have a few minutes that we can meet after.
Okay, that's us, by the way.
Yeah, okay. 2 of us. So, all right. Well, blessings to all of you guys, and good luck with everything. I'm looking forward to seeing your posts in the Dome. If you run across problems, let me know, or let Malik know. We will try to do our best. All right. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Paul. Bye, everybody.
Right. There we go. Bottom right-hand corner.
There you go.